Hey, everybody, and welcome. Are you ready for this?
I am. I'm ready.
Okay, good, good. Because we are diving into Cancer and Sagittarius romantic compatibility today.
Ooh.
Yeah, so exciting. Now, remember, this is all just astrological perspective, not like set in stone
Yeah.
predictions.
Yeah, exactly.
We're looking at one specific article, really unpacking its take on this pairing, how they might navigate love and all that. And right off the bat, this article throws us a bit of a curveball. It says Cancer and Sagittarius, they're not always initially attracted.
Yeah, not necessarily love at first sight with this one.
So why is that? Like, astrologically, what's the deal?
Well, you got to look at the basic energies, right?
Okay.
Cancer, water sign, ruled by the moon, all about those emotions. Nurturing, sensitive, craving that security. Then you've got Sagittarius, total opposite end of the spectrum. Fire sign, ruled by Jupiter, huge need for freedom. Expansion, adventure, that's their jam.
So not exactly a match made in heaven at first glance, it sounds like, but hold on, because this is where it gets interesting.
Oh, yeah.
The article, it says that even though that initial spark might be missing, the sexual connection, surprisingly strong.
Interesting.
It is. So how does that work, astrologically speaking?
Okay, so a couple things come into play here. Cancer is where Jupiter's exalted. Jupiter being Sagittarius' ruler,
Okay.
which basically means Cancer. They have this natural talent for making Sagittarius feel super special,
Oh, I see.
seen, admired. And that for a Jupiter-ruled sign. Catnip.
Haha, makes sense.
Plus, Sagittarius brings that playful, lighthearted energy.
Right.
Fun in the bedroom, that's kind of their signature.
Okay, that makes sense. But earlier we were talking about Cancer and their need for depth, right? Emotional connection, all that. Could that clash, like, long-term with how Sagittarius approaches intimacy?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The article suggests Sagittarius brings that playful, adventurous side, but Cancer might want more.
More.
That deep emotional merging, the soul connection. Without that, satisfaction might be harder to find for Cancer.
So they've got to talk about it.
Oh, absolutely. Open, honest communication is key here. Both partners need to feel seen, heard. Figure out how to balance that fun with the emotional needs.
So maybe not as simple as just a hot fling then, huh?
It can be. As long as they're both on the same page, willing to work on that balance.
Find that sweet spot.
Exactly. It's a two-way street, right? Meeting each other's needs. And that need for reassurance could be a big deal when it comes to trust. This article, it basically says that's where things can get kind of tricky for Cancer and Sagittarius.
Really?
Yeah. And Jupiter, Sagittarius' ruler, that energy factors into. The article even uses the term Zeus complex, which I thought was interesting.
Zeus complex. Okay, now I got to know more about that. What does that mean in this context?
It all goes back to Jupiter, right?
Yeah.
Expansion, going big, and yeah, enjoying life's pleasures, let's put it that way. So for a Sagittarius, that can show up as this need to charm, to captivate. Like they just want to soak up the admiration, you know?
Yeah, they do tend to light up a room.
Totally.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily that they're trying to be unfaithful or anything malicious. It's more like this instinct radiating that Jupiter energy outward.
Okay, I could see that.
But for a Cancer, someone who needs that emotional security, feeling like the center of their partner's world, that outward energy can be rough.
They might feel a little threatened even if the Sagittarius isn't actually doing anything wrong.
Exactly. Classic clash of styles, you could say. Sagittarius, flitting around, social butterfly.
Yeah.
And Cancer, feeling maybe a little...
Stung.
Yeah, something like that. Not exactly a recipe for trust to just blossom overnight.
Definitely not. But hey, the article's not all doom and gloom, right?
Yeah.
It does say there are some good things when it comes to intellect and how you two communicate. Even suggests you might end up in similar careers, which I find fascinating.
Makes sense, astrologically speaking. Both signs are super curious about the world. They want to learn.
Yeah, but in totally different ways, it seems.
Oh, for sure. Cancer's methodical, soaking it all up like a sponge. Sagittarius, they're chasing those aha moments. But the core drive to learn, totally aligned.
So even if how they learn is different, the end goal's the same.
Exactly. You might find yourselves geeking out over the same weird stuff, just approaching it from different angles.
I love that.
And, you know, the article even says that if you can wrap your head around how the other person processes information, communication can be awesome.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you each bring something unique to the table, so it's stimulating. Keeps things interesting.
Okay, so some good intellectual chemistry. I like it. But let's move on to the topic everybody wants to hear about, emotions. Because Let's just say the article made this part sound a little complicated.
Well, it's those elemental energies again. Cancer's cardinal water, bumping up against Sagittarius's mutable fire, creates this dynamic that's both exciting and potentially tricky.
Okay, I'm hooked. Break it down for us. What makes it so tricky?
All right, so imagine this. You're standing by a pool, beautiful pool, super inviting, Sagittarius, mutable fire, remember.
Yeah.
They are diving in head first.
Head first, full send.
Exactly. Feeling everything intensely, not afraid to express it. Now, Cancer, with their cardinal water, they want to wade in slowly.
Testing the waters.
Yes, getting a feel for it before going all in.
Oh, I can already see how that could cause problems.
Right. Sagittarius is doing cannonballs into the emotional deep end while Cancer is still dipping their toes in.
Yeah, that difference in pace. Recipe for disaster, maybe.
It can be. Sagittarius might see Cancer as hesitant, maybe even a little cold. And Cancer might be overwhelmed by all that Sagittarian intensity, especially early on in the relationship.
Makes sense. So they got to learn how to work with those different rhythms.
100%. Understand that neither one is wrong. They just feel things differently.
It's about finding a way to make those differences work for you, not against you.
Exactly. It's all about perspective, isn't it? And luckily, this article does offer some hope on the values front, even with all these potential clashes. It says that even though Cancer and Sagittarius approach life differently, they can really vibe with each other's strengths.
Okay, I like the sound of that. What strengths are we talking about specifically? Like, how do they balance each other out?
So, Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
They might find Sagittarius's bluntness a little much sometimes, you know?
Yeah, Sagittarius doesn't hold back.
Exactly. But deep down, Cancer appreciates that directness, that honesty, no mind games.
Get straight to the point.
Yep. And on the flip side, Sagittarius. They dig Cancer's loyalty, that dedication, yeah, even the emotional depth, believe it or not.
Even though they might not always get it, right?
Exactly. They might not understand every single emotional wave Cancer goes through, but they see how genuine it is. And that's something special.
It's like those differences, they end up creating this foundation of respect, you know?
Totally. Though, speaking of differences, the article does say that finding activities to do together, that could be its own hurdle.
Ah, right. Because Cancer is way more chill, and Sagittarius is always on the move.
It's those different energy levels again, yep. Like that example the article gave about studying together.
Yep.
Cancer's savoring every single sentence.
Highlighting, taking notes.
And Sagittarius has already zoomed ahead 3 chapters. On to the next big idea.
Yep, that sounds about right. So, finding that balance between Cancer's love of cozy nights in and Sagittarius's need for adventure.
It's a constant dance, for sure. But that's part of the beauty of it, isn't it?
You mean like how they push each other to try new things?
Exactly. Expand their horizons a little.
I love that. Well, this has been fascinating. So for our listeners out there soaking it all in, what's the final verdict? Cancer and Sagittarius, is it a love worth pursuing?
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, this is classic opposites. It'll have its challenges, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But huge growth potential, too, as long as they're both willing to put in the work.
Which means
Cancer, stepping outside that comfort zone, being open to spontaneity. And Sagittarius, learning patience, understanding that love doesn't always happen overnight.
it's about compromise.
100%.
Finding that middle ground where you both feel
Seen, heard, respected.
loved for exactly who you are.
Exactly.
And on that note, this has been an incredible deep dive into Cancer and Sagittarius romantic compatibility. Thanks for joining us, everyone.